Well, good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your day. And we appreciate you coming on live when you can. And we understand fully that not everybody can, but we sure appreciate it. And we like to say hello if I have the ability this morning. Let's see, as you get your notifications, let's see if I get my notifications. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, I must. There we go. Okay. And guys, I'm only going to read to you what I see. Okay. Rosalinda, you're number one on my hit parade. Maybe not Andrea, Brahim. Oh, maybe I got it right today. Fran, Judy, and Beverly, and Nick from our staff. Elaine, April, Sandy from Vancouver, Washington, Lynn from Aurora, Karen, Innisfil, how are you? Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Patricia from Calgary, how are you? And another Patricia, I think from Florida, Madeleine, Kippawa, Quebec, Cheryl, West Virginia, Carol, West Virginia. Holy smokes. 2 in a row. Lorraine, BC. Marlene, good morning. Tina, Nova Scotia. How are you? Janice, Brampton. Lise, good morning. Francis from Vaughan. Norma from Texas. Good morning. Penny, how is you? Shelley, Dave, and Natalie, good morning. Love to have you on. And Lee said she's from sunny Sudbury. As I look out my window here, I agree with you. Andrea, how are you? Dennis, Patricia, another one. This one, Patricia's from Pulaski, Tennessee, and having her coffee. Love it. Darlene from Alberta, Marlo, Ottawa, and Natalie, Sharon, Kansas, Sandy. Boy, you guys, I love you. Kevin, you were in the clouds. Our mayor was in the clouds. I didn't see his name until now. Janice, Sylvia, Luella from West Tennessee. I'm going to say hello, Luella, to Doc McEwen from West Tennessee. I never, or rarely, ever see her name. Frida, John from Elgin, Illinois. Sherry, Carol, Lorraine, Deb from Chile, Timmins. Danny Lay, how are you? Iron Bridge, Debbie, Dorothy, 2 more. Janine and Helga, good morning. You know what? You know what this month is? It's breast cancer month. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Tell me a woman that's not interested in preventing breast cancer. Okay? Again, I just give you a little bit of stats for the new folks joining us. I've been saying this for 30 years. In the 1970s, 1 out of 20 North American women had a risk of getting breast cancer. Today, it's probably 1 out of 6, 1 out of 7. I've seen stats that as low as 1 out of 5 women will get breast cancer in their lifetime. It's crazy. It's crazy, okay? Now, the reason it's the month, so let's talk about it. But this is a new study that I just had me thinking about breast cancer month, okay? And I'm just going to read to you the headlines here. Higher vitamin D levels linked to improved breast cancer survival. So this is survival and when you have breast cancer. And unfortunately, oncologists, and doctors, they don't even know the link between having higher levels of vitamin D in your blood, your serum, dehydroxy. I'll talk about that in a minute. So, okay, now I'm going to give you, that was the headline. So higher vitamin D levels linked to improved breast cancer survival. Recent research highlights a strong association between higher vitamin D levels after breast cancer diagnosis and significantly better survival outcomes. Women who began vitamin D supplementation, as I go on in this article, within 6 months of diagnosis, experienced a 49%, almost 50% decrease in their risk of death from breast cancer. Do you think it's important? Do you think it's important? And I talk about preventing breast cancer because today in breast cancer, here's what it is, okay? Here's the way it operates in our society. Unfortunately, it's the way it is, okay? So I heard a commercial even yesterday. Early detection saves lives. Breast cancer. Well, they say that for prostate cancer too. But early detection saves lives. Is that true? But guys, I'm far more interested in cancer prevention. They don't talk about that. They talk about detection, early detection. Am I against that? Of course, I'm not against it in a way, but we'll get into what happens with detection of cancer. Okay? And anyway, I think there's a better way, but let me just get into what I always do, and it's repeat. But we have so many new people, I just got to do this, okay? So, folks, for those of you who follow me for a long time, excuse the repetition, okay? What am I doing? I'm a visual guy. It's the way I operate in my life. I'm a visual guy. It's the way I learned in school, okay? See the ballpoint pen? I remember doing this on a major TV show one time. It was breast cancer month. I happened to be promoting a new book, Serial Killers, 2 Hormones That Want You Dead. And I was talking about breast cancer, and for cancer to get to the size of a tip of a ballpoint pen, ladies, in your breast tissue, okay? This would be hard to detect, especially if you have dense tissue in your breast. You would hardly see that. But if it's grown to that size, it's been there for at least 5 years. Okay, because people have this idea that breast cancer or any type of cancer is a rapidly growing state. It's not. Well, not till the end. Cancer doesn't grow fast. It's a slow growth. Okay? Anyway, 5 years for this. 5 years for cancer to grow to this size. Now, most ladies, if you're doing palpation, which I agree with, by the way, you're palpating your breast tissue and you could feel that, good luck. But, and then they do a biopsy because you're suspicious. You get a mammogram or whatever. Here's what happens. You get a biopsy and they call you after a biopsy. If the doctor calls you, you're in trouble. And they tell you it's cancerous, okay? And so in your mind, or at least in most women's mind, well, a couple of weeks ago I didn't have cancer. Then I felt a lump. Now I've got cancer. No. It's been going on for a long time in your body. It's been there for at least 5 years. Okay? At least 5 years, probably longer than that. Growing very, very slowly over a period of time. This is why, guys, I'm into prevention, not detection. Not that I'm against detection. Although I think that in our day and age today, we still treat cancer the same way. Slash and burn. Okay? Chemotherapy, radiation, and anyway. Okay, so let's start here this morning with causes. Okay? What causes breast cancer? You know? And it's not genetics, guys. Genetics, to some extent, might load the gun. But it's mostly your diet and your environment that pulls the trigger. So look, I mean, we all have weaknesses. We all have weaknesses. I always tell you about me. I've got a very, lots of genetics for diabetes in my family. Okay? There's a lot of genetics involved. But that doesn't make me a diabetic. It gives me a weakness, but it doesn't make me, so if your mama had breast cancer or your grandma or whatever, it makes you maybe more susceptible, but it doesn't pull the trigger. It doesn't pull the trigger. And we focused all our energy on genetics and mutations and this, that, and the other thing. We put all our emphasis on that. Detection, and then the treatment is almost universal. It's unfortunate, in my opinion. So what causes? Let's just go over the causes so you would know some of these, but let's go over them. Estrogen. Estrogen makes you a woman. Makes a man a woman too. Estrogen is a growth hormone. It's beautiful. It makes you a woman. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah, it's beautiful. Except when you have too much. Except when you have too much. Now, I've done this in the past. I'm going to show you something again. For those listening to this on a podcast, I want you to visualize what I'm going to show you. Okay, what I'm showing the audience here this morning. Okay, I've done this before, and I just happen to have thermography. Now, okay, there's two types of thermography. There is heat, because that thermography is looking for heat. So if you have a lot of, like even cancer, it gives off heat. So if you have inflammation, thermography picks it up. Okay? So do I like thermography? Yes, I do. I like thermography. I practiced, in my practice, I had thermography. But there were two types. There's for the heat, okay? And you'll see redness, okay? You see, and I'm showing here a woman, okay, with redness here in thermography, okay? So if you ever had thermography done, they would see that. And they would, they would sort of warn you or whatever, okay? Now, I want to show you this when you look at estrogen on the body, okay? And if you get a very specific thermography, okay, that's what we did in our clinic, we look for estrogen on the body, okay? So let me show you. Okay, same woman in the estrogen. Look at all the estrogen here on that breast. I don't know if you can see that. I'm bringing it up really dark. That's estrogen on the body. See the estrogen on her body? Look at the estrogen here. Okay, lots of it. Yikes. Okay, yikes. Because if you get a blood test for estrogen, don't bother. It doesn't mean anything. It's whether estrogen is on your body. If it's in your blood, of course it's in your blood. It's going down as you get older. That's just normal. That's not the issue. Is if you have estrogen dominance on your body. Breast tissue, men, their prostate. It fuels cancer. Okay? It fuels cancer. I'll show you another case here. Hold on. See if I have the... Yeah, I got the before and after, so I'll show you this other one. Okay? Now you see this lady comes in, okay? And this is on testing for estrogen. Look at the... Looks like leper spots here, okay? All over, okay? Black estrogen. Very dominant in estrogen, okay? So that's one of the major causes. It's estrogen dominance. And if that estrogen ends up on your breast tissue, it makes cancer cells grow. Ovarian, uterine, okay? Cervical, and the cervix. All of those are driven by estrogen dominance, okay? Now, you're not going to hear that very much. You just won't hear it very much. I'm sorry. And I feel sorry because women, they're not told the truth about it. And one of the things that happens, one of the biggest causes, how do you get estrogen dominant? Well, we live in a xenoestrogen world, guys. We live in a xenoestrogen world. Xenoestrogens are chemicals that mimic estrogen. They mimic it. Your body thinks plastic, that looks like estrogen to me. Come here. Come on over here. Okay? So, xenoestrogens, and you can't get away from it. It's all over the place. We talk about it. Okay? It's 44 times, we brought this up yesterday, 44 times worse than we thought. We live in a world, and if your address ends in planet Earth, you are exposed to xenoestrogens. Accept it. Okay? You're not out to change the world. You're out to protect yourself. You can't help anybody else unless you help yourself. So estrogen and xenoestrogens, they're cancer drivers. Breast cancer in particular. Okay? In particular. So, it's important. We'll talk about what to do. Okay? So if estrogen is dominating in your body, and by the way, think about this, okay? It's one of the reasons, okay, that birth control, giving you extra estrogen, horse's urine. You're not a horse. That's what they use, birth control. Look, here's a man talking about birth control. Ladies, I'm on your side, okay? I always said in my practice, I was a woman's doctor. Why? Because I specialized in hormones, okay? I specialized in it. Okay, so too much estrogen, numero uno on the hit parade for breast cancer. Number 2, too much insulin. Estrogen, insulin. Now, insulin is a food hormone. It's very simple. It's a food hormone. And you need a lot of insulin when you eat carbohydrates, sugars. Okay? You need a lot of insulin. You eat a steak, insulin is on the sidelines, having a siesta, resting. You eat an egg, insulin says, well, I'm here, but I got nothing to do, or very little to do, okay? But you eat a muffin, you eat sugar, you eat pasta, you eat bread. Bread is just sugar molecules holding hands. It's going to turn to sugar rapidly, and we all know this. Sugar cannot park in the bloodstream. It's a no parking zone. Because sugar, your body knows this more than we know. We think moderation, but your body said, no moderation. If you decided to eat a donut, that sugar cannot park in the bloodstream. So insulin is the traffic cop that says, sugar, come here, blows the whistle and says, you can't park there. You're in a no parking zone. Why? Because sugar is destructive to your blood vessels. You don't believe me? Ask a diabetic. You don't believe me? Find out why they go blind, why they kidneys, why they have limb problems, right? They lose their limbs a lot of times, or they get wounds in their legs and they can never heal. Why? Why? Because sugar is toxic. And a diabetic, their insulin's not working properly anymore. So what happens? Sugar stays in the bloodstream. Extremely dangerous. Okay? So insulin, it all depends on what you eat. Okay? All depends on what you eat. Sugar ain't a treat. It's a trap. Sugar ain't a treat. It's a trap. And let me give you something else, because we talked about this a million times, but I got to do it again. There is a sugar that's not your friend at all. It's called high fructose corn syrup. Okay? And that's the sugar du jour. Okay? What's that? It's today's sugar. It's man-made. It was made in a vat, not on a tree. And it's highly addictive. And it's very sweet. And it fuels cancer like nobody's business. Okay? It fuels cancer like nobody's business. And there's a new study out that I was reading about in the last few days and just trying to get my head around it, that high fructose corn syrup, cancer hijacks. Cancer cells hijack that fructose. Not if you eat an apple. You eat an apple, that's not giving you cancer. It's high fructose corn syrup. And there's new research showing that cancer cells, they hijack that stuff to fuel their metabolism. It's crazy. Anyway, okay, so you have estrogen and you have insulin. Okay? Two main causes. Okay? Two main causes. Now, we're going to add a third. And in my experience, remember, guys, I'm a why guy. And when I am the reason I say why guy is because you didn't get to see me in my clinic unless you answered questions. I'm a question guy. I wanted to know your history. And I even wanted to know your stress history. Very important for me because you have a hormone called cortisol. And when cortisol is flowing through your blood, okay, for a long period of time, okay, cortisol's on your side until it's not. Cortisol adds fuel to the fire. And in my experience, in questioning thousands and thousands of women with breast cancer, almost without exception, there was a lot of stress involved, okay? It might not have been right at that time. It might have been before, like 3 or 4. Remember what cancer, how long it takes to even get to this size, right? The tip of a ballpoint pen takes time. And that traumatic family dynamics, taking care of a loved one. I don't know how many women I saw who was taking care of a parent. And today's, it's worse because you have Alzheimer's and you have dementia. We didn't even have, I guess we had it, but not like it is today. And the stress of taking care of a loved one, our family dynamics, separation, divorce, finances, a child that's gone amok. And today, add addictions and that kind of thing in kids, in children, and adolescents, and mental health issues and all that. The parent, the mama bear, enormous amount of stress, cortisol. It's not meant to be like that. You're not meant to live under stress all the time. And cortisol is dangerous because it adds fuel to the fire. It pours gasoline on the fire of inflammation. And estrogen, goes up. Insulin, up. And usually when you're full of cortisol, you're always reaching for the wrong foods. So that becomes a double whammy, if you know what I mean. Okay? You understand where I'm getting at? So you have estrogen. You have insulin. Insulin is a growth hormone, folks. It makes things grow. If insulin is present in your blood, do you know that you cannot lose fat? It's impossible. It's a growth hormone. Cortisol pours gasoline on the fire. Low levels of vitamin D. Here we go. Low levels of vitamin D. And doctors, they don't even want to check it most of the time. And they don't even know how to read it. Unless it's flagged. They don't even know how to read it. What this new study is showing. When you get your blood vitamin D, dehydroxy, okay? 25 it's called. The blood test. When you get, this is just minimum, because on this study it showed if you got blood work up to 40, okay, 40 NGML. That's American. Okay. 120 Canadian NMOLL. Okay. How to confuse people. But guys, I'm just telling you the way to look at blood work. Okay. Get my book, Sun, Steak, and Steel. I have a whole chapter and showing you what to look for in vitamin D. Okay. But let me tell you what I know in terms of treatment with vitamin D. You need to get your blood work, vitamin D, done. You should get it done at least once a year. And ladies, I recommend twice a year. Not for your bones. Yeah, your bones, okay. But, that's all doctors think about. It's bones. Vitamin D, bones. No, it's breast. It's breast. And women are walking around. They have no idea. Nobody's told them. As a matter of fact, here's what they're told. Stay out of the sun. The sun, it's going to kill you. And 2, you could get skin cancer. And 3, it's going to give you, it'll wrinkle up your skin. And you're going to age because of the sun. I get a splitting headache when I hear that nonsense. It's splitting. It's worse than a migraine. There's so many studies on vitamin D and cancer, it's incredible. But not in the mainstream. Not in the mainstream. Kooks like me talk about it. But I just can't stand it. Something as simple as vitamin D, check it out. And this is what the research shows, okay? Because this study is showing if you already have cancer, you take vitamin D and you get your blood work up to, to me it's minimum. But it makes a difference. I'll tell you what's optimal. What is optimal vitamin D? Because that's what is preventative. Optimizing your vitamin D. Okay? So in the United States, 60 to 100. Okay? NGML. Okay? In the United States. Hello, my American friends. We love you. Look, get your blood work up to 60 to 100 NGML. Canadians, ladies, listen, Lindas in Canada, get your blood work, vitamin D, okay? Minimum of 180 to 250. Optimize it. NMOLL, Canadian numbers. Optimize it. Been doing this a long time. Optimize it. Okay? So what are the causes? Estrogen, insulin. A lot of times it's a combination of all of them. Cortisol. And I would add low levels of vitamin D. The 4 main. And here's another one. I'm going to just add it because this has been, I talked about this a few times, not enough. One of the things that make your breast tissue, ladies, more susceptible to breast cancer is a thing called oxalates. Okay? Oxalates. And especially in dense tissue. And you get that when you live on salad and not steak. Women, not as much anymore, I don't think, because they listen to the doctors in. But here's what I'm saying. When you live on salad, and not steak. You make a lot of oxalates. And those oxalates have an affinity for breast tissue. And that it can be a precursor to breast cancer. Okay? Now that, good luck trying to find that. You can, but like, that's never talked about. Okay? I wrote about it in my book, Sun, Steak, and Steel. I talked about oxalates. And I talked about it in the metabolic syndrome book too. And by the way, the metabolic syndrome and the metabolic reset are in Sun, Steak, and Steel. I brought it into my new book. Okay? Anywho. So, low levels, high levels of estrogen, high levels of insulin, low levels of vitamin D, cortisol, high levels of stress, and fibrocystic breast tissue and oxalates. They go together in a lot of that. Okay? Now, it's today. I wonder if we should do 2 sessions. What to do? I'll give you a protocol that I like. I'll show you before and after estrogen. Okay? I'll show that to you tomorrow. So you got to come back. Okay? You got to come back. And that's what we'll do tomorrow. Why don't we do that? Because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. They want you to be aware. So do I, by the way. I want you to be aware. I want you to be into prevention more than detection. What do we do? What do we do? Okay? What do you do? Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Guys, what's Friday? Q&A. Friday's Q&A. So, get your questions in. Okay? Get your questions in. Friday's Q&A. We love that. info@martinclinic.com. Tell your friends about the Doctors In podcast on your favorite smart device. Okay? They can listen to this. Re-listen to it. Okay? You can re-listen to this on the Doctors In podcast. All of these lives are turned into podcasts. Okay? And thank you for making that a tremendous success, the Doctors In podcast. We appreciate that. That's you guys. It's not me. It's you. Okay? What would I do without you? Okay. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.